Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Chris. I'm doing a lot of single note perfume focused videos this month. And today's video is about tea-based fragrances, and this was highly requested. I was surprised not only by how many people requested a video based on tea scents, I was also surprised how many tea scents I have in my collection. And when I do these overviews of the single note videos, it's really good for me. They're not always the most popular videos. Everybody wants a top 10 this, top 10 that, new this, new that. It's good for me because it allows me to actually see what I have in my collection. What am I wearing? Is there anything I don't wear anymore? And do I still have a wish list after seeing all the fragrances that I do own? So at the end of the video, I will be able to tell you what fragrances I'm keeping, what fragrances are going, if any, and do I have any on my wish list. I will say that I have a couple more, single note videos coming up. Blackcurrant is coming up, and mango, pineapple, and passion fruit are coming up. I will squeeze those in. Well, at least the mango, pineapple, passion fruit, I will get that in before the month is out, which is rapidly approaching. I'm gonna start with one of my favorite tea fragrances. This is so good. I can definitely see it being somebody's signature scent, particularly like something really fresh, like a nice fresh green tea scent, and you live somewhere warm. It is Wulong Cha. This is the X version. I like both. The original Wulong Cha is beautiful. Again, it's green tea and citruses and a little bit of florals. The original is a little bit more green, has a little bit more of a green quality. This one is less green and more floral, and that's basically the big difference between the two. And for a beautiful, fresh, citrusy fragrance, this has tremendous lasting power, lasts all day. The next one I'm going to show is called Tea Temptation by Vivamor. It's their latest, set of new releases. This was my second favorite. I was really surprised. I brought this to work. I brought all of the new ones to work, and my friends were testing them. And surprisingly, this one was also the second favorite. Everybody's favorite, including mine, was Tagamago, but this came out as the second favorite. Now, I will say, a lot of us weren't huge fans of the opening because the opening is a little, it's that Earl Grey tea. It's a little sharp. It absolutely, in my opinion and other opinions, it leans a little bit masculine. There's something leafy in here. So there's something earthy and leafy that kind of was a tad much for me. I'm like, ooh, the first time I smelled it, I thought that's too strong. A little bit too earthy, too herbal, too leafy. I don't know what it is. I know that there is violet leaf in here, but violet leaf to me smells more fresh. It almost smells like a cucumber. So it must be, maybe it's the vetiver, maybe it's some sort of aromatic that I'm not, maybe it's a little bit of lavender, sage, but it does smell leafy. Definitely fresh. It has a nice freshness, and that Earl Grey tea really kind of comes out gangbusters. But this one has a beautiful dry down. As it dries down, it gets a little bit less sharp. It gets a little bit less strong. It gets more smooth. And the florals come out. I don't know what florals in here. Very subtle background florals. Still fresh from the citruses. Quite lovely. A little bit spicy. Maybe some spices in here. And has really good lasting power. Speaking of very unisex scents, I'm going to show one from City Rhythm. I really enjoy the Fragrance House. I think they have a lot of good offerings. Many of them are unisex. Most people would probably say several of them lean on the masculine side. The great thing is that you can always try before you buy, and I'm not sponsored. I just like to support the smaller indie houses. And this one is Manhattan, and I know for a fact one of my fragrance friends out there, Tanya, from the Netherlands, really loves this. So this is very much in my opinion, a unisex tea fragrance, and it has some darker elements in it. It's got like tobacco, tea, woods, vetiver, maybe some pimento, but it has a freshness to it. There's something fresh about it that keeps it keeps it from being too dark. When I wear it, I find it very fresh, and I do think this has some violet leaf in it as well, because it's just very nice and fresh. You definitely get the tobacco, but the tobacco's not heavy. There's a light tobacco. Now, the tobacco in Miami to me is a little bit on the heavy side, but I still think it's quite beautiful. The tobacco in here is detectable, but in my opinion, it's lighter. I think most people will say it absolutely leans masculine. Some people will say unisex to masculine, but I would guess like it's a green tea or a black tea, but it's a very nice light tea. Definitely, I think if you live somewhere maybe a little bit warmer, You could definitely pull this off year round because it has a really pretty amber. There's an ambery sweetness in the dry down, quite lovely. Another two, I warn you, I talk about these all the time, but I have to say it. Champaca. So this is a floral green tea, and Champaca to me has an apricot nuance. It's creamy. So we have green tea, we have a little bit of apricot. There's bamboo, lots of green elements. It's bamboo, but it's not like overly woody or twiggy, some underlying white florals. I want to say Frisian neroli. Apparently it has a rice accord. I do not get a ton of rice in it, but what I do get is a beautiful light floral tea fragrance with this beautiful musk in the dry down. One of my, I've said before, one of my grabs and goes. Don't even think about getting this if you demand a fragrance that will last all day, because this is not that. This is light, and because of it, it's one I wear quite often to work. And the last little Ormonde Jayne is called Chi. You can pronounce it many, many ways, but Chi is an appropriate way to pronounce it. And this is another very easy, light grab and go. I don't have the lid because I bought a tester on Joma Shop because I got a really, really good deal on this 4-ounce bottle. Another easy grab and go. It is a light tea fragrance. It has a fruity sweetness. I don't know if plum's in there, but I pick up a little bit of apricot, whether it's apricot as a accord or I'm just picking that up, but it's fresh, it's slightly floral. It has this beautiful light tea note, just a touch of sweetness in the dry down. I don't know if vanilla's in here, but it just smells just so lovely, slightly sweet, but very much true to that tea quality. Another one that isn't going to last all day, but I just love it. Have really good memories with this one, and one I do stick in my purse to freshen up during the day. Okay, so for the next three, I have a high-end, I've got a very affordable, and I've got a cleanly formulated. So let's go with the affordable. First, it is Elizabeth Arden white tea. When I bought this, it was like $25, $29. I think a fabulous perfume if you do love some florals. It definitely is very powdery. It has iris, it has rose. I can detect those very, very easily. I think it has watery notes, aquatic notes or watery notes. I get more of a watery nuance. I do not get beachy. I do not get seaweed. I get none of that. So maybe there's water lily in here. So very, very watery, but also powdery as well. So it's watery and powdery, and it is a tad soapy. So it has a little bit of a clean, soapy quality to it. Okay, next we have two higher end fragrances. I'm not even gonna try and pronounce this because somebody's gonna brutalize me in the comments. I'll put the name down below. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it. This is a really beautiful, like a cold blueberry tea, like an iced blueberry tea with, a slice of apple that was dipped in grapefruit juice and kind of placed on the side of that glass. Yeah, it's like a very sparkly, bubbly blueberry tea. I'm going to assume that it is either white tea or green tea in here because it's very, very light. So a very, very light, effervescent, sparkly tea with a little bit of a blueberry sidekick. It goes a little bit more earthy in the dry down, whether that's vetiver or a leather accord. It does get a little bit more warm and slightly woody, leathery. And then the next one is one of my favorite cleanly formulated brands. It's by St. Rose. I've spoken about them before. I'm super impressed with this house because all the ingredients they use in here, whether they are responsibly sourced and they're either recycled ingredients or upcycled ingredients. Now, an example of upcycle would be, let's say somebody's making rose essential oil. Now, the liquid that's left over after you extract your oil, that's usually disposed of. They will take that liquid that anybody else would dispose of and they will upcycle it. They will concentrate it, maybe add other elements to it, concentrate it. They will make that a usable ingredient in their perfume. So this one, Juliet In White, is a beautiful. Another reason why I'm glad I did this video, because I've been neglecting this perfume, and these type of videos force me to get fragrances out that I haven't been using them, wear them, smell them again. This is absolutely beautiful. I'm wearing Gardens of India, but I'll spray over on my arm because it's so pretty. And then I'm wearing Elegantly Tokyo on my right arm, but oh my gosh, so this is so So pretty and clean and light and fresh. I would say it's a white tea, floral, woody musk. Light, dry florals. I do not know the florals that they used or the elements from a floral that they used in here, but it's very light. It's got like a tangerine, I want to say a tangerine essential oil, white tea, pepper, a musk, an ambrette, so a botanical musk that's quite lovely. And the sandalwood that they use is from a sandalwood farm from Australia that's, I think it's family owned or indigenous owned or female owned, I can't remember, but it's quite lovely. This is a great, if you only wore like cleanly formulated fragrances, this is a very elegant one, and it's one that in my opinion would be a good wedding scent. Okay, so the next one is a fragrance that was gifted to me, and I'd seen this brand over on Instagram and they seemed very interesting. A lot of them seem quite lovely. The one that was sent to me is called Matcha Rush. And this is a fragrance that actually my daughter wore before I did. I always, when I get a fragrance or I get a new shipment, I always take the perfumes out, set them on my counter or my kitchen table, and it kind of forces me to wear my new scents. Otherwise, I kind of get lost in the shuffle. And one day my daughter was walking by and I said, "Oh my gosh, Holly, you smell so good." She smelled very vanillic. "You smell good. You smell very vanillic and almost like a biscuit. What are you wearing?" And she said, "Mom, it's that new green one that's been on the table this week," and it was Matcha Rush. So this is probably the most tea forward of all the fragrances I will be showing today. It's tea, and more tea. So the notes are, it has green tea, it has mate, it has orange peel matcha. There's also toasted puffed rice, toasted Japanese tea, lots of florals. I think there's lily of the valley, musk, and a little bit of a woody dry down. So in the very beginning, it is going to be really a lot of tea in your face. Like tea, I get a little bit of mint, fresh, minty, earthy, maybe a little bit of vetiver. So when I smell an earthy tea, that's typically matcha or mate. So the tea comes out really prominently in the beginning. This fragrance is not linear at all. It really kind of takes you on a ride. So you get a lot of that tea in the beginning, lots of that tea, a little bit earthy, fresh, minty. And then the mid part goes in the florals. I get light white florals, lily of the valley. It's very pretty. So it becomes more floral centric. And then in the base, it almost becomes gourmand. And that's when I smelled it on my daughter. She had been wearing it for several hours and it had like a gourmand flair. So the base is creamy. So it has hazelnut and sandalwood. I don't know if vanilla is listed per se, but I definitely got this soft, creamy, somewhat gourmand base. And that's probably the creamy sandalwood, the hazelnut, like a creamy hazelnut, and a little bit of woods or something in the dry down. Quite delicious. And this one is very long lasting. And another beautiful sandalwood. My gosh, this is gorgeous. This is one of my favorite Kayali fragrances. So this is Velvet Santal, and I think Silk and Velvet Santal are definitely two of my very favorite fragrances in the Kayali line. I get along with most all of the offerings. I think a lot of the fragrances are very easy to love. This one surprised me how much I love this. This is a beautiful, resinous, sweet sandalwood. It does have tea notes. I want to say there's jasmine pearls, maybe some white tea. Definitely an ambery sandalwood fragrance that has a nice, beautiful, soft tea accord. And I love jasmine tea, particularly when I put cream in it. There's a little hint of that. Yeah, benzoin, sandalwood, white musk, yeah, a little soft white musk, quite beautiful. Moderate lasting. This one does not last forever, but it's absolutely gorgeous, very unisex. Picky Pat likes it. Okay, so I'm down to my last three, and I know I had more tea fragrances, but I was gonna call it quits with this last three. And I almost completely forgot about one of the most affordable fragrances in my collection, J.Lo Still. It is a clean, soapy, fresh floral tea with a prominent kick of pepper, particularly in the beginning, and a lot of musk in the dry down. Originally, I bought this for the rice note. I get 0 rice. But at $30 for this big bottle, I find it very good, easy, freshy. I've got a really fresh one and 2 gourmand teas. So Erba Fresca by Guerlain from the Acqua Allegoria line is a very This is spearmint to me. This is a very minty tea, very earthy, very fresh, a little bit grassy. I want to say, gosh, what is that note I'm blanking on? Clover. So it's got clover in here, I'm pretty sure. So, you know, it has these elements that are very vegetal, very garden-like. So it is more on the earthy side, definitely. You have to love something that's very grassy. I do think the tea in here is a green tea. And the mint in here is sweet, so it definitely leans more towards the spearminty side. Absolutely spearminty with some nice, you know, garden-like herbs and florals. Probably has lily of the valley. Very fresh, and one of the very few fragrances that I think works really, really well in the high heat. The next one is probably my most gourmand. This is by the house 4160 Tuesdays, and this is Hammersmith Tea and Biscuits, Eau de Parfum. Oh my gosh, the notes in here, or the accords in here, are cray cray. So I know there's pancakes, there's flour, maybe oat milk, lemon, ginger, obviously tea, lots of vanilla. And the tea in here, I want to say, is a black tea. So it's a black tea, and imagine adding some ginger syrup, a little bit of cream, a lemon wedge, and then you served it with like vanilla biscuits. And that's kind of what it smells like to me. Definitely has a darker element with that black tea, but it's completely offset by a lot of those sweet elements. So very, very much gourmand. It's very unique. Don't have anything in my collection that smells anything similar to this. And one of my very favorite fragrances, which I did not realize was so polarizing, I mean, this is so scrumdiddlyumptious to me, is Blue Madeleine. Oh my gosh, look at that bottle by Atelier des Eaux. So listen, I absolutely love this perfume. This perfume is a big love for me, and I will be wearing the heck out of it as it starts to get colder, because this is a very, very cozy fragrance. This is tea, very warm, very spicy, very milky tea fragrance that has a beautiful smoky vanilla in the dry down. It has a touch of rose, it has a splash of cinnamon, it has a little bit of sandalwood, but for me, the easiest way to describe it is a beautiful, warm, spicy tea with a smoky vanilla. I absolutely get a light, smoky vanilla. The vanilla in here reminds me of the vanilla in Lune Feline. However, it's not nearly as spicy, and it's not nearly as smoky. That vanilla was way too smoky for me. It's similar, like toned down. Like if Lune Feline was a 10 out of 10 smoky vanilla, like on the scale of intensity, this would be a 2 out of 10 smoky vanilla. Okay, so that does it. Again, like I said in the opening, I had no idea how many tea-based fragrances I have, and there isn't a single tea fragrance in here that I don't like. But there are a few that I just don't wear. I know I'm gonna have to part with a few. I like to have a rule: if I haven't worn anything in a year, I need to consider putting it up on the chopping block. Now, one that I haven't worn, but I highly recommend it as a affordable tea-based fragrance, is Elizabeth Arden White Tea. This is absolutely a fantastic perfume. A fabulous kind of a floral, a soapy clean floral white tea-based fragrance that is amazing for the price. But you know, when I'm ready for a tea-based fragrance or I want to wear something tea-based, I just never grab that one. But I think it's a fantastic one, particularly for, you know, more casual outings in the summer. I can't believe I'm saying this because I absolutely love this perfume, but this 1900, I haven't worn it in a year, even though it's a spectacular fragrance and on the pricey side. I don't know why I haven't been pulling for it, but it's really good. So that might be on the chopping block. So that was it. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for, I almost forgot. Is there anything on my wish list? No, I am set. There is not a single fragrance that has tea in it that is on my wish list. I have more than enough, so that's it. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching. If I haven't talked about your favorite tea-based fragrance, let us all know in the comments below. Everybody reads the comments, and I'd love to know what your hidden gem is. Thanks to all of you who always stop by, watch my videos, even when they're not your cup of tea. Leave me a comment down below, give me a thumbs up, and support me, and I really, really appreciate it. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.